Good evening. We are Boomer Rex tonight. I have with me Mr. Boomer Rex himself.
Hello.
Asshole.
See, we didn't interrupt. We were good.
And
Not this time.
Good.
and I am RisenLadyHeathen. I was unable to introduce myself last night because of the shenanigans. But
It's always ever only this time, and we're going to make sure
Yeah.
they count every this time.
True.
So, before we start anything else, I have a thing to correct. I said that Joe Pine started off weaponizing hatred or anger. Something. No, what he did was made it entertainment, and turns out, like cocaine and God, there's just some things humans don't do well, and that's one of them. Anger is entertainment, makes it, right, you start doing a thing ironically or whatever, and sooner or later it becomes habit, and now you're doing it for real.
Right. Now you're doing hate,
And your
not
anger. Yeah, and the problem is anger gets shit done. So people get momentum on it, and the people who have the least to lose do some terrible things
Yeah.
to feel important for a day.
Yeah. That's the foundation of outrage press.
Yes.
Look around.
Which is the thing of, speaking of which, both sides do, right? There are
Yes.
definitely aggregation sources that are designed to make blood shoot out of your eyes. And
Yep.
I feel you as a human who suffers from hemolacria. Bloody eyes, fuck off, I'm good
I
at this.
know.
Or maybe it's just like discharge. Anyway. Don't at my Latin at the internet, it's been a bit.
So the first thing tonight is just kind of a fun thing I stumbled across.
ooh, I like fun things.
So this is the Otto Solera 500L,
Okay.
right? So here's a company that's making business aircraft, right? 6 seats.
Like a G6.
Like a
That's,
G6.
I don't know how many
G6.
people a G6 holds.
I don't know. Did
Anyway,
they ever end up making one?
A G6?
Yeah. Because originally it wasn't a flavor type of Gulf craft.
I
You were
have
telling
no
me about
idea.
the much better A500.
the Otto Solera
Yes.
500L.
Yeah, see, I know.
All right. So here's a little company making business aircraft, a 6-seat business aircraft. And so you look at the picture and your whole mind goes, that's a fish, not an airplane,
Ha!
right?
That's
I
funny.
mean, that's exactly the shape. And the point is that it has laminar flow, right? Which requires very specific, very accurate shaping. And what the company has said is the reason we haven't done that before, right, in metal and so forth, is it ain't easy to do it in metal,
Right.
right? You're doing all the things metal's not that good at. But that's the one. Yeah, looks like a fish.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Just keep swimming.
the idea is that you can do it with composites and you can be deadly accurate.
What was the problem with the big Boeing Arts and Crafts bong plane? The A700.
All of the manufacturers have these theoretical prototype or better
They used to
airplanes.
gush poisonous. Oh, it was a battery problem. Never mind. Sorry, the internet. They were having trouble with the 6 of them in existence. They're a ceramic plane, so they're filed in a couple of weird spots in my head.
Weird, fine.
So
Anyway,
you were saying
so-
you could do this out of ceramics, and that was ceramics. Ceramics.
Composites.
Composites.
Yeah.
That's always been one of the problems with composites, is composite designers tend to get brought into problems where there's already a metal solution, and they're being asked, can you make it lighter and
What's
so
the
forth.
difference between ceramic? One's fake dirt, I guess.
Basically.
Okay. The
Okay.
other's fancy science.
The other one is epoxy and carbon fiber and
Okay.
so on. Okay. So anyway, composite designers will tell you, you get brought in, they say, well, I need to replace this metal part with something lighter. And I'm sorry, guys, that's exactly the wrong way to go about the whole problem, right? Yeah, I can replace that metal part, but remember that that whole system was designed for a metal part.
Right.
And it makes use of the strengths of metal parts. And yeah, I can probably do it a tiny bit lighter in a composite, and it'll be a difficult design, and nobody's going to wind up all that happy with the result. But if you give me a bigger problem and say solve it with composites, now I solve it in a way that works for composites, right? Not metal. So that's what they're saying is with composites, we actually have a chance to make aircraft whose surfaces are accurate enough and smooth enough and so forth to have laminar flow. and it wildly reduces the drag on the aircraft, right, as you push it through the air.
So,
So here's this airplane. It's got a little turboprop at the back end, right? Okay, so what they're aiming for is 6 passengers, 460 miles an hour, and a 4,500 mile range, right? That's a regional jet, is what that is.
Yeah.
Right? Just wow.
Yeah.
And they're predictions, and we don't know that they'll come true, right? And you'll have to amortize the cost of purchasing it. But they're
Can I make it 8
expecting
passengers and a drone?
what?
Can I make it 8 passengers and a drone?
Oh, I don't know. They're saying it'll cost $328 an hour to operate.
Damn.
By comparison with $2,100 for a typical business jet, right? 6 passenger business jet. It will get 18 to 25 miles per gallon by comparison with 2 miles per gallon.
Jesus.
For a typical business jet.
So that is not a small increase of mileage.
No,
That's a
this is a huge change.
Yeah.
And we'll see how
ginormous.
much of it, when they get them in the air and see how they're doing. And composites aren't all that easy to build, and it takes time to get them right and so forth. But here's a really interesting way to reduce the environmental impact of a business jet by a factor of about 3.
And how many people
Right.
does it take again, you said?
Only 6, but the design concept is relevant to lots of other aircraft and potentially bigger aircraft.
Or just get 2, or just get competent people.
Yeah.
Give me 6 people, and I can do a lot of.
Yeah, but it just, first of all, it's very pretty. As you saw.
Absolutely.
Right.
No, and once you start talking the numbers, it's.
Those numbers are outrageous.
I've heard that you should change your business model if you can get a 30% change on pick a thing.
Yeah.
That's way more than 30%.
Yeah,
it really is.
That's many times a 30 move.
Yeah. No, so
Whoever
anyway,
gets their last
we'll
dies.
keep an eye on it. So anyway, just again, there are things that are happening that could improve the carbon dioxide footprints, and
there are 12 good material science slot machines they should pay off right now. We've got a couple of good battery designs that people are trying that are doing something cool. I've heard some cute things from fuel cells recently. There's some interesting things that should pay off going forward, but we do have to.
Yeah. Well, so the
make
things to look at,
noises.
right? If you've got a fixed installation like a house, you might think about using an Edison battery.
Yeah.
Right? They have nearly infinite lifetimes. They're very easy to maintain. The problem is they're very heavy, right? But if your house isn't going
So is your air
anywhere,
conditioner.
I mean,
your
if you
fridge.
live in California, you might not want them because your house is going to move down the hill, and the batteries.
Yeah, you're going to get
come with
tumble dried
Yeah.
tumble grossed with your battery.
But
Squish, squish, squish.
anyway, a very simple,
Battery
very old. Yeah.
Sorry, shit. Going to hell for that too.
And what was your other one? Oh, fuel cells.
Yeah.
Here's the thing to keep an eye out for on fuel cells. What has always murdered fuel cells is that it requires exquisitely clean fuel.
God damn.
Right? So,
I
watch
build
for
a
fuel
still in the
cell
front end?
designs, right, that don't require exquisitely clean fuel.
Can I just build a still in the front end?
Sure, as long as you don't mind tripling the weight and.
Is it really tripling the weight? Like,
Yeah, it
don't
really
fuck
would
with
be.
me. You know I want friendly helper GoBots.
Find a way to design a fuel cell that can be flushed so that it runs for 2 days and then you wash it good inside and drive on.
Can I give it to a couple of 19-year-olds to keep alive?
That's my question, is can this be made simple? Because
Yeah,
that's what you need.
Okay, so the 19-year-olds not the problem. We'll just shout at them until they make the boat go.
Well, and I will promise you that the damn thing is useful in the field and requires certain kinds of maintenance. I absolutely guarantee you that the 19-year-olds will
If
take
you
care
gave
of it.
19-year-old me a GoBot, it would do the stripper guess your weight gain and game, and boy, didn't I just get an awesome cameraman, which is going to be a whole other kind of problem. But no, sorry, I derailed us.
It's like everything else. Xerox machines initially required substantial amounts of maintenance, and you wouldn't have accepted that in any other device except they were incredibly useful, and so we put up with them.
That's true. Jeeps weren't awesome when we first showed up.
No,
with them.
they weren't.
All right, so you know how to solve this question that we're having here, folks. You need to, you know,
crowdsource this.
give us money so that we can get one of these planes and test
And we'll
it
tell you
out,
what
and
it's
we'll
like.
let you know what it's
Yeah.
like. And if you want to come on a ride and you donate enough money, we're fucking down.
Yeah, and if
come up
you'll
with a way
help
to
us
funnel
cover
money
the
into this.
acquisition cost, I mean, I'll pick up that $328 an hour by myself if I have to.
That's why you should like, comment, and subscribe.
Oh, do that. Please do.
That's what the Murderbot GoBot
In the
friendship
future,
bot
we might
need.
give away, you know, trips on our private jet.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you could even be part of an evening.
Yeah,
go to Ceramic
we
Hot Air
can
Balloon?
we can do shows together. We can go to, you
be
know,
great fun.
whatever. It'll be fun.
Yeah, we'll bring the robot.
So now you've heard our fantasy.
I want a hot air balloon.
So the next one is the Eternals. And I just happened to see in
haven't seen that.
passing. What?
I haven't seen it.
No, I haven't either.
Is it out yet?
I don't know.
We should go watch it.
I know nothing about this movie. I heard it mentioned
Yeah, I
once
think
on
it's
Facebook.
out because it was on various streaming services.
Okay.
So Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Qatar, the usual folks, their censors requested to make changes because they didn't like the same-sex in the film. You know what Disney said?
Oh,
They
really?
said no.
Yeah.
The way
Name
to
it.
go, Disney.
Well, Disney got all the money in the world. They don't need to listen to nobody.
What?
I was listening to your list, and I pay very good attention to the things you say, but I can't help, and I have a hole. China wasn't on that list, right?
No.
Okay, just checking. I'm just saying, if it was
That would be
Winnie
a
the
better
Pooh in the
test
thing,
of Disney's commitment to
they'd
its
have cut out
artistic
whatever they were
purity.
told.
Yes, it would.
for some reason.
Anyway, I saw that in passing, and I thought, you know, way to go, Disney. And
Way to
we'll see
go,
if-
House of Mouse.
And we'll see what it is next week, right?
Yeah.
Fair.
So, anyway.
Yeah, exactly. It's you like want to pet a corporation, but then they do a thing where you're like, well, I could just elbow you a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
why are you like this?
Well, no, I mean, if Disney caves, we're going to be back next week.
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna throw a
And we're
rock
not
at
gonna
Disney
say nice
sooner or
things.
later.
Right.
I don't
Right
care what they
through.
say. I love you, Disney.
Oh yeah.
I was there when you opened your Star Wars stuff. It was amazing. It was the happiest day of my life. I was able to bring my young son. It was brilliant. I enjoyed every moment.
I like the fact that the alien queen is now a Disney princess. and
Yes!
So is,
Oh my god!
so is Klinger.
Oh, that's right.
Done.
Way to go.
Everything's fine. Don't worry about it. Like, we're all gonna die, but
All right, so
That was
here's
awesome.
another awkward
You know, the last
transition.
time I was at Disneyland,
I've never been because you're.
I've never been.
Dad.
I've only been to Disney World. Never been to Disneyland.
I've never been.
Disneyland's the California
I've
one.
never been to any
I
of them.
thought we took you. You're probably too young to remember. I'll ask your mother.
Stupid dog.
But anyway,
Oh my god, I just saw him. So we have these floor to ceiling windows, and there's our dog just standing right outside the
I'd
window
like to be
looking
inside
in at
now.
us.
I know before when you were calling me and asking me nicely to come inside, and I was like, "Nah, I'm doing my own stuff, bro."
yeah.
But I'm done. My stuff is over. Can I come to the party?
Nope. So he can sit outside,
Oh my
Sorry.
god, that was
stare
the,
through the window.
that was the funniest thing.
Yeah.
'Cause I
Like,
just
comment,
look over,
and subscribe for more
there's
I-
eyes just
Well,
staring at
looking
me
in-
from the darkness.
Podcast.
And he's a black lab, right?
Yeah.
Chocolate, yeah,
So,
he's a chocolate lab.
yeah,
Yeah.
whatever.
He blends into the darkness.
wish
well.
He blends
gray,
into the
like-
darkness, so he simply appears at the windows. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. All
wish-
you see is just the yellow rim on his eyes,
I
and
know.
you're like, ah! Oh, it's a
I
dog.
wish he was gray
Wait,
like
that's
the
part of a
fiber on her.
vampire story, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
The eyes outside the
Salem's
window.
Lot.
Yeah. Yeah, what? Salem's Lot. You're right.
I wish he was gray like Weimaraner's.
Oh. So anyway, way to go, Disney.
Mhm. All right, so let's dive into Karilli, Zahalo, you and your weird fucking names, people. Okay, so this is a story about Russia defenestration. It sounds like.
Yeah. And this is totally WTFO. So here is another Russian who managed to fall or be pushed or be thrown
Uh-oh.
from a window in an embassy. And they find his body in a heap in front of the embassy. It's the German police. So this guy is accredited as the second secretary of the Russian embassy in Berlin. Now, the Germans all think he's FSB, and that's probably true.
That's a good bet,
Okay, so, am I going to cry over
GRU
spilled
or
FSB agent? No.
He's one of 12 alphabet
But
cousins.
you kind of halfway need to speculate.
Let's see.
So did he jump? Yeah, maybe.
I feel like there's a math
Was
problem.
he thrown by some Russian patriot who's sick and tired of their kleptocracy? Right? Did he overdose on some decadent Western drug? Don't know. And then they threw his body out.
Or was he, about
try
to
to
go
save
walking
some
on
of his-
British bridges, and they don't want to send the guy with the umbrella this time. Which was so much better than the, Spritzo Doom from last time, where they killed not the
Yeah,
spies.
they killed the wrong people. First of all,
And just uninvolved people.
yeah, just
Yeah.
like
Sloppy.
random people.
Like, Russia, that's not the flex you think it is. My special operations guys will show up, kill who I want dead, and just shoot 2 rando motherfuckers.
Because.
So buckle up, because it's about to get bumpy.
Uh-oh.
And it's interesting that you mentioned those Russian murders, because
That's
it
our
turns
dog.
out he's the son of the deputy director of FSB's second service.
Oh, shit.
Oh boy.
It's the FSB second service that goes out and kills people. So, wait a minute.
You're telling me killers are falling out the windows?
Yeah,
Well,
we're being thrown out, or
sons
being
of
murdered and
killers?
thrown out, or what the hell?
Yeah. What is
I-
going
What
on?
is... Wait, hold on. So, Murder Al Gore got thrown out a window, is what you're saying?
Baby Gore, but
Baby
okay.
Gore's, misadventures in
First of
wherever.
all, people
Yeah.
don't defenestrate people. And for those of you who are unsure of this word we are using,
Means to throw
defenestration
out a window.
means to throw somebody, a person specifically, out of a window. That's the definition.
So anyway, just
So don't do that. Don't
So,
defenestrate.
the son of the head
deputy.
priest remover, priest ritter of her.
Yes.
The ritter of priests.
Yeah, kind of.
Troublesome
Death of priests.
The death of death of priests.
So, death of priest kid gets thrown out a window.
Or pushed out, or fell out, or
Yeah, I was drunk and stumbled through the windows.
I hadn't thought about the
somehow,
drug overdose
like you
until
do.
about a minute ago.
Yeah.
If
And
anyone,
you could see them saying, this is not what we want. Throw him out the window so the injuries are consistent with something other than drug overdose. I have no idea. But I look at this and I go,
We are wildly
there's
making stuff
got
up
to
the
be
internet.
a story behind this. I want to know the story, and I will bet you money we never find out.
Oh,
I
never.
have 2 points. One, I will also point out when the Russians left glow-in-the-dark footprints from St. Petersburg to where the guy died and back.
You mean the folks from the second service?
You and I both said someone just framed Russia like it was a
Yeah.
throw together job. Like, this is what happens when you who do we have and wherever? I need a guy dead, and I need it to look like Russia did it.
So like a
But they did it.
slapstick comedy movie
And then
is
when
what
we
you're
chased
saying.
it, no, but when we chased it down, we found out those were Russian agents whose footprints we were following.
That just
So-
fuck you. Yes, we're Russia. Yes, we kill people who annoy us.
Yeah.
Don't annoy us, or we will leave glow-in-the-dark footprints from our embassy
Again-
to your house and back. And what will your government do? Because
Don't be a troublesome priest.
So, and the other thing,
And if you don't know,
Yes.
about the troublesome priest, Google the words, "Who will rid me of this troublesome priest?"
And the second thing being internet, if you've screwed up and they have managed to get you to a second location and they allow you to walk around the room while you're talking, jump out the first window you find is the rules.
Yeah.
Because if anyone who's taken you isn't got your best interest in heart.
Right.
Never let them take you to a second location, ladies
But
and gentlemen. Like,
your plan, in case it didn't work out that way, jump out a window if you get a chance.
Yeah, it
Doesn't matter what floor it's on. It's you want to screw with their plan now.
Yeah.
Anyway, on a happier note, maybe I don't know. I'm really rolling
Is
the
there a
dice on.
happier
No,
note?
we're talking about because we're still mad at fucking Vin Thacker for being a fucking asshole. Fuck that guy.
Whoa, wait,
Yeah.
which one's this?
This is the guy who wants
I really ought to bring my
the school
program.
librarians to
Oh,
report
yeah.
the
students
LGBTQ
to
Yeah.
thing.
check
No, we're
out
still mad about that.
LGBTQ.
That's bullshit.
It just
No, we
that
just
is,
had to
again,
call him out again because
that is
fuck
so
that guy.
deeply un-American, so just anathema to what this
That guy in a
country
way
is
that would make
supposed to
him
be.
stand. Whatever you don't like, buddy, I hope that happens to you.
No, again, in no way am I advocating anything, but
No. We
Snitches are
don't
bad.
actually want
this is
harm to come to people.
like I usually giggle the snitches get ditches, don't. But no, he's asking people to inform.
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
No, that's
don't
Gestapo
be an
bullshit.
informer.
Don't do that.
Everyone's done like
Yes.
I'm
I
not
figured
narrowing
out-
it just to the
No,
one set of
I
bad guys.
figured out how to solve this. This high school that's dealing with this asshole, I want every one of you, every
To go check
student
out a
in that
book.
school to go check out these LGBTQ books.
Oh, yeah,
right.
All of you. Max, put all your names on that book just to give this dude the biggest middle finger he has ever seen in his life. He will cry himself to sleep. It'll be amazing. Do it.
Yep.
Then he stroked out.
And while you're at it, find yourself a Star of David to wear.
No,
No.
No?
Don't
no,
do
because the
that.
idiots can't tell one not to do it, and no.
Okay.
Plus
Plus, people
Because
don't
that's
know.
exactly what it's
People
about.
don't know the difference between a Star of David and a pentacle. It's just dumb. Don't.
Anyway.
don't
If
mix
you don't believe-
message.
Yeah, if you don't believe in the thing, don't wear the
It's
symbol.
not a
End of
mixed
discussion.
message. That's what
Yes.
happened to the Jews.
Yes. No,
Yes, but...
Their neighbors turned them in.
Okay,
it's
but that's not
defund the police. It's one of
Yeah.
those things that
Okay.
you've made a noise that you don't get a second sentence, and it didn't fit well on a bumper sticker the first round.
Okay.
Right. So
No, I
Wait.
uh,
The concentration camps had a special symbol for the
stay
gay.
away from it. It doesn't.
yeah, don't. No,
All right.
let's not go there.
The fascists always hide in that we're not the last set of fascists, and so when you make the illusion that simple, the media goes, "Well, to be balanced, it's just this thing," and
No.
go back to watching soap commercials.
And to
My-
be balanced, yeah, they are exactly the last
Yeah,
fascists.
no. And my idea is simple,
They're every
and
fascist.
it's gonna make people like just shut the fuck up real quick. So
Oh no,
just
I liked
do
your
the
idea.
thing. Yeah.
It was.
No, and I agree with you. I want to get the like.
What country was it that protected their Jews by everybody wearing the Star of David?
I don't know. Sounds like a story.
Yeah, we'll have to. All right, we'll do some
Okay.
research on that because that sounds interesting.
Yeah,
Everybody from the king down. Is it Denmark?
I doubt they were that close, but
We'll do some.
that's my inherent
research.
distrust of the monkeys. Like,
Yes.
But no, I absolutely agree with just clog the system.
And it may not be true, but it's a story I heard,
Mhm.
and
No, may
At
well
the
be
time
the Polish
believed, and we'll
cavalry
research
charge,
it.
but
It'll
there
be
is
great.
something beautiful about the myths that we choose to tell, especially when they're in strong defiance of a thing as evil as fascism.
Yeah, no, we just did a whole bunch of stuff on myths and urban myths and urban legends and where they come from and what causes them. So
Well,
I can
and-
certainly look that up in that instance of is this an urban legend or did this really happen? Did a town do it? Did a country do it? You know, so I will
Absolutely.
certainly do research on that and we'll have that
that'll be
for
fun.
you at some point.
Right.
Comment, like,
And so
subscribe. Let me
while
know
we're-
if you want to hear more about this.
While we're talking about fascist government,
Mm-hmm.
remember the voting rights lawsuit in
Oh.
Florida,
Yep.
where the
No.
University of Florida had forbidden their professors who are experts in the subject from testifying?
Ooh.
Yeah, well, that's all over. They'll be allowed to testify.
Okay, good. Because what happened?
Um,
No, because my things could be backhanded and kind of nice about professors and kind of rude. So
um,
finish saying the nice thing.
So that initial decision, right, there was a gigantic hue and cry from both the faculty and alumni.
Everyone
Right.
agreed.
Yeah, who, again, accused the university of bowing to political pressure.
Everyone likes freedom
Well, this is what you don't.
and popcorn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what were they complaining that they couldn't teach or whatever?
They told them they couldn't go testify in a lawsuit.
About what though?
The
Voting Rights Act.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, good job. And this is why tenure matters and
Yes.
why tenure should not be given to nitwits that are not contributing to the body of work and increasing the knowledge of mankind.
Now, this,
Well, and I'd like to know what was said, because at many universities, the degrees are issued by the faculty, and that the faculty can, and at times have said, this university will issue no degrees until this is resolved.
Yep.
Period.
now
That's the point of college is, hey, you
Yes.
bright kids, come here. I've got a place. Like, I'll pour kids in and
Yep.
you make them smart too.
the lawsuit itself is against Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida, the Republican governor.
Yes. And I assume the new restrictions and attempted voter suppression, the usual suspects.
Right. The standard GOTP.
Well, what is the
suppression.
the current one's going to be hours on voting and early voting control.
Well, and one of the interesting things is that
And reducing drop
Florida,
laws.
Yes,
Florida,
they've already got voter ID.
Florida had a really interesting thing where it wouldn't let previous felons, after they served their time
Oh, yeah.
and did their whatever, vote. So there was a big vote not too many years ago that all of Florida, they won the vote, and they said, these people should be allowed to be able to vote. And Florida voted on it, and Governor DeSantis has gone out of his way to keep this from moving forward the way his constituents said that they wanted it to be done. They just wanted, once your time is served, you can vote again.
Yeah.
End of discussion. Whereas he's been trying to keep it the way it was previously, which is you have to pay these things, you have to go get permission, blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
blah. It's done.
It's the standard thing that puts the lie to the Republican desire for local government and small government.
Oh, absolutely. They're for local government and small government,
As long as it
right
does
up
what it's
until
told.
they have something they want to enforce on everybody, and then the bigger the government, the better.
Yeah, or
So-
they don't want someone doing a nice
Sick of
thing
that
in one
shit.
zip code. Right, the limits on local minimum wage, that it has to be done
Yeah.
at the state level, not the local level, who
Right.
I thought was supposed to know the people better and be more
And
easily
the situation
addressed
better and
right.
do a
It's
better
just easier
job
to get
of
the mayor's
legislating.
time than your
Yeah.
congressman. He's
Right.
got congressy stuff to do. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I digress.
The thing is, there's so little point in pointing out the hypocrisy of the Republican Party because it is so utterly consistent. They're
Yeah.
just-
And
it's
that's kind
every
of the
time you
weird
turn
thing,
around.
Yeah, is that like they'll say one thing, but then when the shoe's on the other foot, they're like, "Oh no, we
Yeah.
can't do that." But you said 2 months ago we were gonna no, we were JK,
And that-
LOL.
Everyone sitting at this table can do 15 minutes of, oh no, when our liars do the lying thing that I know all politicians everywhere are doing, I can list off when they've screwed up and what they do wrong and their inconsistencies and when they said the thing, when they voted for it before
Yeah.
they voted against it, and sometimes that's a good answer and sometimes that's not. But it's the
No, but I think that also plays into the false symmetry, right?
Well,
Yes.
This is a Republican Party specialty. Yes, there are
They're the ones-
individual members of the Democratic Party who have done this, and
Yeah.
yes, they're guilty, and I don't mind calling them out on it.
but it's the same.
But it's the Republican Party's stuck in trade.
No, when they put themselves up as the family values local government kids, you get to whack them twice every time they step out of
Oh,
line
God.
on that. They get to whack us with the right. Pick a thing. I don't want to do the full quote of the
Yeah,
AA
we've
and
done
yeah.
dumb stuff too.
the $450,000 settlement noise,
Yeah.
and the inability
That was
to
silly.
either hit that ball out of bounds or do something.
Or deal competently with it.
I like that you're getting savaged by your cat while we're recording this.
I know,
That's
that's just
hysterical.
great. He's decided it's time
Now
to
I
play.
can hear you bleed.
And his yeah.
got some good claws on him.
Well, he draws blood in the traditional way.
Yep.
Yep,
All
he drew
natural
blood.
blood.
Yeah, all natural
All
blood
natural
draw.
blood.
Organic.
Yep. No, we had talked about the roots of some of the problems that we are seeing, and I had proposed that there has been a massive loss of community that is in many ways responsible for the things that we're seeing, right?
Did we address your father's going to college meant that he was no longer attached to the community long term, and right because he
So,
didn't care about like Birmingham or wherever because he wasn't right. His kids weren't going to grow up and die
Okay.
here.
So
He was no longer protecting the mill.
my father grew up in Syracuse, graduated from high school, went to work painting china. And he did that for exactly 1 month until his supervisor came and gave him a pink slip. And my father said, "What did I do wrong? Why are you firing me?" And the man said, "Because this isn't where you belong. You can do more than this. Go find a better job." So 3 months later, he was hired by AT&T as an apprentice lineman. Took him about a month to become an apprentice surveyor. And about 6 months after that, he volunteered to go in the Army Air Corps, and AT&T made up the difference between his pay in the Army Air Corps and what he would have drawn as an apprentice surveyor for 6 months.
So there's a thing that
That's
corporations.
amazing.
It's like a corporation that would do that now. I would expect to have come off some sort of alien ship or something.
I know.
Step through a ripple in time.
No, and at exactly the same time, they had taken him aside and said, "Would you like to continue your education?" And they were going to pay for him to go to college, provided that he would come back and work for some number of years.
Right.
So, again, yeah, corporations used to be different.
It's like if you invest in your workers, you get something
Right.
back. And
So my father goes off
Yeah.
to World War II, right? Does his thing in a B-24.
I've
Right?
been in one of those
Yep.
while I was doing like airplane things.
My father cried when we told him that.
I know. It's
I remember the look on his face, though. We're talking about walking the catwalk in the bomb bay of a B-24 in flight. And he's sitting on the porch looking at us going, "What are you talking about?"
because, like all little boys, it's just a murderous game of follow the leader.
Yep. So we had ridden the Collings Foundation B-24.
Yeah.
And had a
It was
wonderful
super
time.
awesome. If you get a chance, go for it.
Go for it.
Don't cause a world war just so you can be in a bomber at the internet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, don't do that.
So anyway, my father comes home from World War II with the GI Bill.
Ooh, the real one.
Yeah, the real one.
And the new one's not bad, but like there was a period in the middle where we screwed it all
We were
up.
screwing people over. Yeah. They paid his tuition. I believe they separately paid for his books, and they paid him a stipend
I know.
Ooh,
that he and my mother were able to live on
amazing.
while he went to school.
You're not gonna find that nowadays, folks.
You will. Oh, the newish one that I knew of most recently, I don't know what the current, but was E5 base pay and books.
Yeah.
So I don't know on the tuition side how good they were, but anyway.
No, that's awesome.
That's way better than like
That's
the
better than I
some
thought, yeah.
percentage
Oh,
per
yeah.
month for a little bit. And
Yeah. No, I had a good GI Bill.
Mm.
They paid a stipend that was about half what we needed to live on.
still.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we know the math that if you're a full-time student and a full-time worker, you will not graduate.
Right.
Right. That system is designed to take your money to pay to subsidize the accelerator in the basement of building whatever. It's all the filthy science bastards.
I took a single course in a non-degree status. Thank God it was non-degree. And while I was working, and managed a D. Right. So, and I'm sorry, I'm fairly bright, and I think it's the only D I ever got in a university environment. Hell, I think it's the only grade I ever got below a B. Anyway.
Must be nice.
That's all right. I've seen his 7th grade report card.
Oh, I know that was priceless when we found that. That was good.
So you were saying of loss of community. I didn't mean to.
No, but the point was that my father would have been a leader in the community.
Yeah, whatever community
Right.
you put him in,
Right.
he's gonna
He
feel
would have been a
responsible.
leader. And
We made high mobility the thing.
he never went home.
Yeah.
And
And that's been the
so-
model.
Yep.
And now that we've introduced you're going to have 5 careers over the course of your employment.
We're going to keep you moving. Right. So,
Wade,
Wait,
bro.
Hey, stupid dog.
This is why.
He's got an itch. So anyway,
Pull a little away from the thing.
yeah, Risen is soothing the dog.
Yeah.
So, in any case, here's my father who never went home. Well, that was repeated hundreds of thousands of times.
And only got more as we went
and
forward.
you didn't, right. And so
We're
you were,
third generation.
you were moving into places that you didn't grow up, you didn't know people.
Economically nomadic.
Right. And
Which has always been the model. That is also part of why we have states and several other of our structural.
Yeah. But it also meant that, your personal relationships, your community, typically was built around your work.
Hey, what's that?
So.
Never mind, it was just a lizard.
No, but again, that whole thing of having people be that mobile and suddenly, right? I mean, the GI Bill really caused a bump.
Picked up a lot of families.
Absolutely.
And really made the truth to
flung
how
them around
the
country.
How are you going to keep them on the farm once they've seen virus?
All right.
Well,
Yeah.
and this is interesting because my
Don't actually know what
experience
that's from.
with loss of community is so when I was a kid, my parents were very aggressively involved in the community, right? Like my mom was in the PTA, and she and her friends actually are the reason why my town that I grew up in now has a YMCA. She used to drag me to these stupid dances and stuff, and I had to bring my friends just so there'd be kids there, and blah, 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 blah. And all of this punishment, right, that at the time I was like, God, she's just making me do these things. I don't want to do these things. But because of that, that town now has a YMCA. And if my mom and her friends had not done all these things, my town would not have a YMCA. And I actually ended up working there for a summer when I was a teenager. But anyway, my
mom made sure I was extra socialized. I'm oppressed.
Right. No, and that's what you feel like when you're a kid. Right?
Oh yeah, no.
And it's funny because my dad zoning boards, right? He was on the zoning board. I remember going around and helping my dad post signs like, my dad for zoning board, my dad, and putting up these signs all around town.
Yep.
And then we'd have to go take them all down after the election and everything.
I didn't
and
know that.
He was head of the zoning board in my hometown where I grew up.
I knew that. I didn't know you had done signs.
Yeah, I helped him with the signs.
Signs is such
him
wretched
and my brother,
work of politics.
him and my brother would
signs
It's
go.
are
effective and
fun.
great. Yeah, when you get to go and talk to people and ask them if you can put a sign in their yard.
Yeah,
Right,
that's
but
fun.
him and my brother would go on bike rides, and they'd bring signs and they'd put them up while they were on their bike rides and stuff, and it was fun. But so as I said, my parents were aggressively involved in the community, right? When I grew up and moved out, I moved into a completely new town about an hour and a half from where I lived, and the only reason why I knew one of my neighbors was because I knew them previously. And then when I moved into my own house or into my own apartment, many years later after my divorce and such, again, I lived in an apartment. It was my first apartment, the whole thing, and by myself, just me and my son. And I only knew one of my neighbors.
Yeah.
Why? Because he happened to be an old friend of my brother's from back in high school. And, oh, hey, what are you doing? And so,
And he worked for Kirby, so he was going to talk to everyone in that building, and
everybody. He
check
kept trying
to
to
see
sell
if
me one.
you need
Well,
a Kirby.
That also
Right.
points
We'll
out
kick you a
another
name if
thing,
you
which
want a
is
Kirby.
the foundation of community in a lot of ways is children. Right, that's what gets you out of the house to talk to your neighbors and so forth, and their kids come over, and your kids go
That's
over
what
there.
gets you.
Oh, when I
demanding
was a
bigger
kid,
housing than an apartment.
we were all over the neighborhood, right? And there was groups of us. We ran in packs, right? And
Lord of the
everybody
Flies.
knew us, and they'd be like, your daughter was being whatever, your son was, she was in
You
our
know what I
lawn."
heard your kid say to my kid?
Yeah. No,
We should
but
just spit 'em
Speaking of
both.
being surveilled,
Oh yeah, but that's the good kind.
oh, one of my neighbors, oh my gosh, if he ever listens to this, I'm gonna laugh. One of my neighbors told on me. I was a teenager. I snuck out of the house late at night to go see a friend down the street, and he told my parents on me, don't do that.
Stop
That's not
snitching."
okay. No snitching.
It's a little okay.
No, I wasn't doing anything bad. We just hung out and we're looking at the stars.
You were
and stuff.
listening to
It
the
was-
hippity hops.
Yeah, we were. We were probably listening to the hippity hops. No, I'm just kidding. We weren't.
that's a
But-
good story. You should stick with that.
No, me and my friends snuck down the stairs and we snuck out
Yeah.
the door and You know, the
That's
whole
not what I
thing,
did
and-
when I snuck out the door. Anyway, no, but it also means that I'll bet you if you look at friendships and being part of the community and so forth, that families that move after their kids have left school do not integrate as effectively.
That would
in the
fit
new
in with the numbers
community.
we've got on the loneliness epidemic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, yeah, and like I said, like I lived in an apartment complex. There must have been 10 other families on my half of that apartment. And again, the only reason why I ever spoke to that one group, right, was because I happened to know one of them.
And the nice old lady on the first floor. But
Oh god, she was a
she was so
sweetheart.
old, she was going to die because the wind blew
Oh
on
my
her someday.
god, yeah, no,
Just
she
what?
was
The wind
old as
blew on
the
her.
dirt.
She's just going to turn her to dust.
No,
Oh, okay.
she was super sweet. If you
Yeah.
forgot your key or something, she would let you in if she recognized
You remember
you.
when
She
you
was
used to
good.
make little dolls out of apple cores?
Uh-huh.
She looked like that.
After 3
She
months.
was adorable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, she was. I loved her.
Yeah, she was such.
There
a
was a
sweetheart.
crazy lady in a condo complex I
Her-
know who used to
Right,
want
and-
help
and
doing
her-
all kinds of stuff. The old
I
ladies
think
are
it was
great.
I think it was her younger sister or whatever would bring her groceries.
Yeah.
And the time that we really had an
Oh, yeah.
in-depth conversation with the sister or whatever was she'd her car had gotten towed because our apartment complex was decided that they were going to be the Gestapo and tow everybody's cars if you didn't have a sticker, and I got mine towed. It cost me $250 to get it back. These people were fucking sharks, and it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
They wanted $100 for a parking sticker because the car that I had with the parking sticker had gotten into an accident, and I was never able to retrieve the sticker because it was totaled.
Right.
And
And Derpy Properties Limited was going to make sure they got every dollar they could for
Absolutely.
everything they could.
oh yeah, and there was never a problem parking, right? You always found a parking space. There was never any issues. There was no reason for them to tow people's cars. This
Yes,
woman
there was.
walked into the house to give her sister groceries, and she came back out and this dude was taking her car, and she's like, you can't do that. I was only here for 15 minutes. Like I need my car, blah blah blah. And after that, they stopped doing that
Oh, yeah.
because everybody in the apartment complex was like, no, this is not okay. I posted on
So
my
there you go.
Facebook. I tagged them in it. I was like, this
Yep.
is ridiculous. Like,
Community action at work.
yeah, no,
Good job,
it
the
was
monkeys.
crazy. Because they were trying to
Outrage.
they were trying to tow people's cars off the street, which is public property, and we called the cops and asked, we were allowed to park there, and they would try to tow cars from that.
No
so
better
they got
community
the cops
See 'em
organizer
doing it.
than
more.
outrage.
You see them doing it.
Yeah.
Call the police.
We did.
That's
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto, and you prosecute it.
I think it stopped before I left, but a new company. It was really weird,
Yeah.
but anyway.
I'll also point out that a good color copier would have solved your problem.
Yep, it's an
So-
arts and crafts project away.
Yep.
No arts and crafts project away out of life's expenses, the internet.
Yeah, but if somebody's doing something wrong, okay, and they're in the wrong, and in this case, my apartment company was in the wrong, do something about it. Don't just sit back
Yeah.
and take it. Do something
Go
about
after 'em.
it. Yeah.
And while
we
you're
did,
busy and angry about the thing that those sons of bitches have done again, remember to like, comment, and subscribe.
oh, do it.
Tell us about
Absolutely.
it. We'll shout about them. Probably not
yeah.
by name, but like we'll tell your story
Yeah.
with enough changed names and whatever. I watched some Dragnet. We're good at this.
All
right.
right.
So I was having a conversation with my mom the other day.
So,
Yeah.
And the way this played out is she was talking about getting a Christmas gift for me, and she wanted to know what I wanted, blah blah blah. And she starts telling me about the problems that we're having right now with getting products, right?
Yeah.
So there's like this huge amount of items that people can't get or aren't getting. The shelves are getting emptied again, blah 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 blah. And so I told her, like, I know this, we've been looking at the story, but we haven't actually talked about it on the show. So I
Okay.
decided that we were going to talk about it tonight.
Cool.
And to
Tell-
be
tell.
honest, I hadn't had a good, I hadn't been able to find like a real good article. Today, I magically stumbled across an article by Thomas Palin, Pellini, and he did an article for Insider about the California ports. Okay, so Los Angeles and Long Beach are the major ports in California. So picture looking out into the ocean by one of these ports. And as far as the eye can see, rows and rows of container ships just waiting to be unloaded. Some of them have been backed up since late of August 2021. So there's ships just hanging out in the water, just waiting for somebody to come get them. So this is causing rising prices and delay in people receiving their items and blah, 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 blah. Now, Los Angeles and Long Beach are the largest ports on the West Coast and among the closest to Asia, right? So
Yeah.
they're there.
It's like 70% of the Asian freight
Oh, wow.
goes through those two ports.
Yeah, no, and they are the preferred port for container ships, especially the large ones.
Yeah.
Not many other ports can accept these surprisingly huge ships.
Oh,
These ships are just ginormous, okay? And not many other places are big enough to be able to, bring them in. So one of the things that Nathan Strang, who is Flexport's Director of Ocean Trade Lane Management, and he told Insider, I blame 150 years of supply chain optimization. It's a sign of their success that's causing the congestion.
Yep.
Okay, so the thing with these particular ports is it's California, so the rules are really strict. So one of the rules that these ports use is requiring truck drivers to make appointments to pick up and drop off containers. They also require trucks older than 2005 to have a 2010 or newer engine. So they're very specific about their guidelines with this. And I'm sure there's a bunch more, but these were the specific ones mentioned.
I've seen the pictures of the smog they used to have.
Right.
I know why they decided this was a good rule.
No, and it is a good rule, and it makes sense, okay? But so they shifted operations to 24 hours so that there's more time slots, okay?
Cool.
But there's no space to unload the containers, so they need to wait for the trucks. So you're kind of taking one off, putting it on a truck drives away. Next truck, taking it off, putting it on a truck, driving away. Next truck.
And you can't just summon up magically more trucks suddenly.
Yeah.
Well, exactly, because you need to have them in this time frame. You can unload so many trucks at a time, blah, blah, blah. Once a truck is emptied their container, getting it dropped back off is hugely problematic because they are accepting minimal returns, right? They just have no space to store these return
I've been looking at their
empty-
storage yards and they're full.
Yeah,
So.
just packed.
Yeah.
So part of the problem is the large amount of increased demand for items due to the pandemic.
Right.
So suddenly America said, oh my God, we need all these things. You got to get all the things. So Asia and all these other countries are like, send them all the things. And it's just like, oh my gosh. The ports just can't keep up with this influx. It's just so
It
it's
was
just
not
so
designed
much.
for everyone to get an Amazon package on Thursday.
Right.
This
and
Thursday.
Yeah, and next Thursday, and
well,
Yeah.
and this is compounded, okay, because some of these companies are now making it even harder at the port by overloading, so making them too heavy, some of these containers, and what's called floor loading.
yeah.
Okay, so what floor loading means is they don't put things on pallets, which allows them to fit more items in, but it means that the items have to be put on pallets once they're in port.
Unloading just went crazy.
And so they can't continue on in the supply chain until they're palleted up. Now, this is hugely, just really problematic due to the pallet and labor shortage we have right in this moment. So it's kind of like this perfect pot of all the worst things you could possibly imagine right on these two ports. And it's just causing all of these problems.
And again, it will damp out over time.
Right.
But that doesn't mean it can't get worse before it gets better.
Exactly.
Well, the other thing that's happening nationwide, right? I mean, I think you touched on it earlier, is we had all these companies that had optimized their chain to deliver just in time, and so any disruption stops them.
Yep.
So you've got a 20-cent screw, right, which is preventing you from selling from shipping $150 product, which is now piling up, partially built because it needs the screws, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
No, and
So-
and some of these, you know, some of these are just hanging out because if another ship comes in that has priority, you have to unload that first. And I think priority would probably be your things that expire, that food items, I believe, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Or people who pay extra money, maybe.
Cargo containers full of people.
Yeah, this
Well, I
company
guarantee
didn't
you, if
this-
you go look, you'll find out that money can buy you a.
Oh, I'm sure. This article didn't go into those type of details, but it was basically talking about what they did was they had rented a ship for the day,
Yeah.
and they had this dude go out with them and show them all the ships and
Yeah.
what was going on and how this was all working out and everything. And it's just very interesting. So
That's neat.
it's Business Insider, and it's an interesting article, but it was kind of a long read. I had to kind of scroll through it, but
It is the problem with just in time, and a lot of the over optimization is disruptions.
fragile.
Are one of the predicted knock-on
Brittle.
effects from the John Deere strike
Uh-huh.
is there may be a nearly permanent shortage until they build new factory space on the parts they aren't making right now, because their space is absolutely as full as it can be.
Yeah.
Because they had science come in and go, no, here's how you lay it all out to take up all the room you can. But that
Yep.
means they can't run more than 24 hours a day. So,
Well, and again, it means that any disruption disrupts you,
yeah.
right? Whereas if you had an inventory on hand, right, you'd have something to fall back on while you went out and
Yep.
found, if you had to, another source of the 20-cent screw.
But
But-
up until recently, we've been saying don't hold warehouses of the
Absolutely, because
the
it's
wasted
inventory.
space.
Inventory. You have to pay for inventory, right?
All
There's
the
a
time.
carrying charge, right?
right. So the whole concept of the on-time delivery is that every 2-3 times a week, your local Walmart gets these big shipments. Now, a lot of people feel like there's storage
It's
in the back of Walmarts. No,
And not.
no. I've worked at Walmart, as I've said, everything goes out to the floor. There is no space in the back. They might have pallets of water back there, but as soon as they're emptied, people will bring out the next set of pallets, right?
Yeah.
So it's not there's absolutely nothing in these back rooms, okay? I mean, there might be a couple of things, but it's usually seasonal, right? So you'll have like the next season
Or it's
kind of
just high
setup.
volume stuff that
to be
you're
pushed
refreshing the
through.
display twice a day.
Right. Like there was like a clothing section and it would get switched out, like
Yeah.
you said,
Okay.
every day or two, right? So there's really nothing back there
Well, and the amount of
that's
stuff.
missing on the shelves.
One of the
It's
things
not
I
a
think
thing.
people aren't aware of is how much of that is done by the vendors. Right,
Yep.
like the chips, that's loaded by Lay's
It
employees.
is. Yes, they
That's-
come into the
Walmart
store.
doesn't
You'll
have
see
your
them.
chips.
They have their
Right.
Lay's
Yeah,
outfits
Pepsi,
on.
those big displays. That's Pepsi putting those together with
Yep.
Pepsi guys.
Walmart has nothing to do with that. Yep.
So anyway, sorry.
No, it's just to help people understand, right? That when you go to Walmart and you ask an employee, "Where's this item?" and they say, "Oh, if it's not there, we don't
Try
have
not-
any,"
Yeah,
and
they're
you
not
try to
hiding it.
tell them to go look out back, they're gonna look at you sideways.
It's not.
because
It's 30 miles or
it's
whatever
not
off
out
San Diego.
back. And even if it was, this person that you're talking to would have no idea where to find it
Yeah.
because it's buried in some pallet somewhere, and it's like one in the middle of a pallet, and they're not going to dig it out for you because they don't even know where this pallet exists.
Right.
So it's just crazy because we literally take the pallets onto the floor. You'll see it.
Yeah.
And we cut them open and start just
Everything
putting
just
stuff on
goes
shelves.
where it goes.
It all goes onto the shelves.
Yep.
So no, there's nothing out back. Yeah, it's crazy. But that's what's causing this problem right now is that we can't get the stuff unloaded fast enough, and we have such a huge influx. Asia's, all of these other countries just send all the things they want to buy them, send it to them so they can buy them, and there's just no way we can keep up with it. We just can't.
Yeah.
So
No, so one of the things you mentioned was
don't
the,
panic buy. It causes problems.
the Lay's and Pepsi, right? The route managers,
Yeah.
right? And so I'm kind of curious because when I was growing up, the father of a friend of mine was a Pepsi route manager. He drove a truck,
Mhm.
right? And he delivered Pepsi to places.
Mhm.
Coke,
God bless him.
actually. Lived in a middle class house.
Yeah.
Right. Sent his kids to college. And money wasn't growing on trees, but it wasn't in short supply.
Yeah.
Right. His cars weren't, this year, but they weren't 10 years old either. And do we have anything out there that's less than 10 years old? Anyway.
Fine.
Okay. I think all the others are at least
It's
10.
close though, because mine's 2012
No.
and it's 2020.
Yeah, right there.
It's right on the border.
And part of that is cars last longer than they
Yeah.
used to.
True.
Doubled the useful lifespan of engines.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
and
it's cheap.
that-
I love it.
and that's the computer that did that.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, I would just be curious if you can still earn a middle class living as a route guy. So,
I feel like you can. I see, when I would look for jobs periodically, I do see that you be your own boss. Go to these. We give you a route and you go and you stock them and blah 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 blah. And yeah, I mean it's not great money, but it's not terrible money. I mean,
yeah.
That's less helpful.
So, they used to do that with groceries. I don't know whether they do it anymore. I did a computer system for a company that had route men who stocked, 22,000 products in local supermarkets.
right.
And they would go and the big innovation was their computer could tell them what they've sold in the last year of this product to this company, and it would tell them what price they had to sell it for to get the same commission. And it substantially increased the profit of the company simply by understanding what they were making on each sale,
Right.
or not making.
Right.
And but it was fascinating.
Yeah.
And they ran that poor computer absolutely bone ragged.
About
Right.
$28 an hour.
Yeah, so
That's not terrible.
Yeah. It's just wage. That's pretty good. So basically what we're saying, folks, is maybe hold off your holiday stuff. Wait until the prices start dropping again, which I've heard might be sometime around February. There's been some murmurs and such.
Yeah.
They'll drop even faster if you don't buy for Christmas.
Yeah, no, just hold off, buy a couple of things, and say you're getting the rest in Christmas and
Yeah, the universe doesn't care.
July or whatever.
But
It's You can give it.
that's what screenshots are for.
Right.
On the other
You
hand,
can even
This
tell
is
them
what
what they're
you will be
getting.
getting as soon as it goes on sale. There you go.
Yeah, right.
Congratulations.
we
Be
may also
happy.
be the wrong tribe to ask, because I'm pretty sure we managed to have a Christmas in like June.
That's true.
I think we did that once. Yeah.
Yeah.
We did.
So,
Because of the pandemic.
well,
Yeah, and we forgot about Christmas until like, oh yeah.
Oh shit, we got stuff.
That's
it
why
wasn't
you-
forgot about. There was other stuff going on that interfered.
And that's why
And
we
there
don't
were
give each
people
other
missing.
puppies
Yeah, no.
ever
don't-
again.
No, that was bad. Bad.
Puppies.
That was a bad box to open. Let's not talk about that. We didn't kill a puppy. The internet. We're joking. Okay. So
Yeah.
We're not monsters. You're monsters.
yeah, for thinking that we would do such a thing.
Oh, you
What the
had me
hell's
going.
wrong with you?
Perishable.
Right? Yeah, that would be considered a perishable.
Remember to punch the holes before you put the puppy in.
And put food and water in there, preferably.
Remember to
maybe.
like, comment, and subscribe for more dead puppy jokes. What the hell is wrong with us?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not good people.
No, shut up. Swim back to the ports. It made sense there.
Okay, so anyway, back to the ports. I'm just kidding. folks.
Don't crush the economy by ordering or not.
Yeah,
ordering.
don't order like a bunch of stuff. Don't panic. Don't freak out. Panic buying is not the fact that people talk about, right? And this is the real problem, is they talk about these shortages and these problems, and then everybody's like, oh my god, and they
I have
like
to go buy.
like during the
Tell you
COVID
because of it.
pandemic,
The
and
toilet
everyone was like,
paper.
toilet paper. And I'm sure it was some joke, right? That some idiot made one time on their Facebook, and then everyone was like, oh my god, I gotta buy toilet paper. This is the
No,
problem.
Best
If
I
everybody
found four
had
things.
kept
No,
buying
yeah.
their toilet paper regularly, it wouldn't have been an issue.
Oh,
Would
for
have
sure.
been. It turns out that because so many people were either not going to work, right, had been laid off or were working from home or whatever, toilet paper gets delivered in 2 flavors. It gets delivered in institutional flavor, which is a roll about that big around,
Yeah.
right?
Big drums.
And it gets delivered in household flavor, which is the little rolls everybody knows about. All of a sudden, the world didn't need industrial rolls, it needed household rolls, and they didn't have the machines to keep up. But you sit there and go, whoa. Yeah, again,
Start
we're
selling
fragile.
the industrial rolls. It's fine.
Well, no, and that in some sense they probably could have done that.
I don't know.
Is deliver those to the stores, and people who had no toilet paper
Would've
would
just
buy
bought
that
it, yeah.
roll.
Right? How am I not going to slap a plastic thing on it going, in this time of COVID, we just wanted to let you know, we here at Industrial Shitters Incorporated care about you and your family.
Right.
And we just want to do our part.
Here's your industrial roll
So
of toilet paper.
don't panic buy the internet until we have a product. And then buy that shit or you'll die. Or turn into a frog or whatever you don't want.
Well,
So
it is.
be safe.
You'll
Once
glow in
again-
the dark so they can track you.
There you go.
Or you
Once
won't
again, we have had a wonderful evening, a wonderful discussion. I hope you found my description of what's going on at the ports helpful and understanding to, what's going on with these quote unquote shortages and such. And I say quote unquote because they are real shortages, but the reasons for them are very obvious. And it's no secret, and it's not this big cabal or whatever trying to screw you over, blah, blah, blah.
She doesn't want to tell you that Godzilla is really sinking all the ships.
It's totally happening. Okay, so
Bye.
we
You see
have
him sitting on the bottom, right, ripping the ships open to see what's in there to eat.
we will see you back here tomorrow night on Boomer Rex Tonight.
It's like
And
those
we'll
little
bring a
Uncle Milton
Godzilla
toys.
story.